There we go. The brown pills? Am I going too fast? Huh?
Hello, I am Craig Oster, and I was born in Detroit, Michigan, in 1963 to working class parents.
I have two younger sisters. My family moved to Plymouth when I was in the 5th grade. I've always been an independent, hard-working spirit with a need to help others. When I was 11 or 12 years of age, I began my first job as a Plymouth Observer newspaper delivery boy. By the time I was 15 years old, I'd earned enough money from various jobs to make a sizable down payment on a luxury sedan.
He always worked. Always worked, always got all A's in school, was a good kid, had a lot of friends, and I remember they had a band. I used to love it when all the kids came over and made a lot of noise.
Craig went and played football. He tried to, but he had asthma really bad, and he got all dressed up for a game and that, and he went to play, and he couldn't catch his breath and that, so we took him in and found out that he had asthma, so he couldn't play football. But what he did do, and he was very good at it, he played the bassoon. And he took lessons for that, and I'm not sure, I think he maybe started about 12 to about 16, 17, played it.
Although I had asthma, physical expression through athletic activity also became deeply important. By the time I was 28, I'd run a marathon, built up the endurance to swim 2 miles without stopping, regularly practiced yoga and bodybuilding. Soon, something devastating would begin to crush this limiting sense of myself and provide me with the opportunity to develop, with much fear and resistance, a very different sense of who I am and what my worth truly is. I would also learn about asking for help and allowing others to give to me in remarkably humbling ways. In August of 1994, at the age of 30, I was diagnosed with a terminal illness. The medical team explained that ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, is a mercilessly progressive disease, and that eventually everyone experiences paralysis and dies from being unable to breathe or from other complications.
Most people with Lou Gehrig's disease have trouble with walking, with moving and such, and one of the, I guess, terrifying aspects of it is the muscles used in breathing. Most folks with ALS really do have trouble breathing and problems with breathing, and that's the scary part of the disease.
With terror, I observed my condition deteriorating rapidly. I was in my final 2 years of doctoral studies and passionately loved doing psychotherapy. I felt devastated as doctors told me that 90% of people with ALS die within 3 to 5 years, and that those living longer are mostly paralyzed. Terrified, I prepared to face a horrible death, but steadfastly determined to discover whatever hope for healing was possible and to earn my PhD. My initial review of medical literature on ALS revealed enough cases of reversal to dispel the belief that this condition always results in death. I continued with extensive research of leading-edge health and healing information. With intensity and passion, I developed my own evolving holistic healing program, incorporating this information along with some of the practices used by those who had reversed ALS. I kept a strong vision of healing My former pattern of having a sense of control through hard work was no longer working. After losing about 45 pounds of muscle, physical strengthening has begun to accompany my emotional, mental, and spiritual transformation.
What changes have you seen in my muscles since then?
Well, I've seen your muscle motor control aspect, you know, about how you step and how you stand. And of course, I see a layer of muscle forming over, you know, in his spine and around his shoulders. Even between the rib cage, the intercostal muscles, because he can breathe better.
I spend about 2.5 hours in a rehab gym 3 times a week. Held by a harness, I exercise on a treadmill until my heart is racing and there's a puddle of sweat beneath me.
Holding on.
In my weightlifting routine, I'm now able to push down 55 pounds on one machine, whereas a year ago, I was able to push down only 10 pounds. At times, I feel joy and bliss as I am lifting weights. Totally focused, I rejoice as I experience great energy surging through my body from deep within, providing me with the strength to lift more than I lifted the time before. In these peak experiences, I flash back to exhilarating, body-feeling moments I had as an athlete prior to ALS. In the past, when the muscle mass kept disappearing with each passing year, eventually totaling 45 pounds, I held to my faith that my healing activities were bringing me closer to reversing the damage ALS had done to my nervous system. However, respiratory muscle wasting became so severe that after 14 years, I began to regularly wake up at night, barely breathing, having to push my lifeline emergency button. Eventually, I ended up in the hospital emergency room, breathing faintly, exhausted, and scared. Within a couple of weeks, it was surreal to find myself signing up with hospice. As my breathing continued to diminish, I needed the help of either oxygen or a BiPAP breathing machine to get through the night. I wondered how much more this could go on before my life would be extinguished by respiratory failure. Hospice helped me write my living will. This involved some very painful conversations with my girlfriend, parents, and closest friends. I made decisions about resuscitation, life support, the music I would listen to as I was dying, memorial arrangements, and so forth. More than once, I found myself gasping for air as I cried, "I'm not ready to die."